I'm Chris.
And I'm Jeremy.
And I'm Fergal.
And we're from Movie Smash.
Comic book movies are having a golden age right now with the MCU.
Movies based on comics aren't necessarily a new thing, but they're a big thing.
Join us every other Tuesday on Movie Smash.
We explore these movies and find some hidden gems.
Every other week, we revisit some of the best.
And some of the worst movies based on comics or graphic novels.
Was Green Lantern as bad as you remember?
Heck no!
Is Time Cop the most accurate time travel movie ever created?
Absolutely.
Was Mystery Men way ahead of its time?
Should they be revisited? Should they be forgotten?
Join us on Movie Smash and find out. Listen wherever you find your fine podcasts.
Okay, everybody, welcome to the latest episode of All2 Real 2. My name is Michael E. Cullen II, and with me, as always, is...
Sesame, I like money, and Carta.
I like money.
Yeah, me too.
Eddie Money. He's a good musician. Yeah.
2 tickets paradise.
Yes.
I got 2 tickets.
You know that one song he's saying, the one song it was like where it was like just like Ronnie sang, you know, and then Ronnie Spector comes in and she sings "Be My Little Baby." Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah. When I was in college, my girlfriend's roommate, we were listening to that song one day, and she turns to me and she's like, "Did he just say just like a rhino's head?" She thought when he was singing just like Ronnie sang that
just like a
rhino's head.
sounds like me, something I would do. Like,
yeah. Now every time I hear that song, that's what I hear. So
yeah, that sounds like something I would. I always mishear lyrics. I interpret them in a weird way that's not at all what the song is. Meaning, like with Metallica, Enter Sandman, when he says "keep you free from sin," I always thought he said free throws in like basketball, and I was like, oh, that's I don't know why would they be doing court shots, but you know, it's just like,
I shoot baskets when I'm in my sleep. You know, when the Sandman is coming.
When you're having a good dream, you know,
you're dreaming that you're, you know, playing for the Detroit Pistons or something. You know, you're like, oh, yeah, but
you're Michael Jordan. Like, you know.
It's like when I was a kid too. The Smokey Robinson song, "I Second That Emotion."
Yeah.
I always thought it was second-hand emotion.
Second-hand.
But I really like that idea, like a second-hand emotion. It's like where you kind of like just take on the emotions of somebody else. It's not your true feelings. It's like your second-hand emotion.
That's really cool. That's like what would you call that? Like when you take on other people's emotions, there's like an actual word for that, but whatever. But yeah, I like those. That's like secondhand smoke is emotion.
I gotta write something like that. Anyway, so today on our lovely show called All2 Real 2, we are covering a movie that we're living through right now called Idiocracy. This movie that came out 20 years ago. And too bad it's all coming true. But that's okay.
Like almost all of it. Like literally almost all of it.
It came out in 2006, so almost 20 years ago. So I think it was made in 2005. But anyways, the synopsis that we get here from the Internet Movie Database is Corporal Joe Bauers, a decidedly average American, is selected for a top secret hibernation program, but is forgotten and left to awaken to a future so incredibly moronic that he's easily the most intelligent person alive. Yes.
Yep.
This was directed by Mike Judge, who people will know from Beavis and Butthead and King of the Hill fame, and Office Space fame, and Extract fame, and other things. It was co-written by Mike Judge and Ethan Coen, not Ethan Coen, like not one of the Coen brothers.
No.
Different guy.
Yeah.
Ethan Coen is known for he wrote the spectacularly amazing film, Holmes and Watson, starring John C. Reilly and Will Ferrell, which is probably one of the worst movies ever made.
Wow.
But he wrote The Bad Guys and Bad Guys 2. He wrote Men in Black 3. He wrote Get Hard, Madagascar, Escape to Africa. He wrote the screenplay for Tropic Thunder. So he's not that bad.
I never heard of the one with John C. Reilly and Will Ferrell. What is that called again?
It's called Holmes and Watson. It's about Sherlock Holmes and John Watson.
Okay, I vaguely remember that coming out. I never watched.
Yeah, John C. Reilly plays Watson and Will Ferrell plays Holmes. Yeah.
Okay.
I tried to watch it.
I vaguely remember that even existing. It
came out in 2018. Yeah. So.
Yep.
But yeah, so we got that guy. The movie stars Luke Wilson as Joe Bauers, Maya Rudolph as Rita, Dax Shepard as Frito, Terry Crews as President Camacho, Anthony Critic Campos as Secretary of Defense, David Herman as Secretary of State. We also have other people in this movie. We've got Michael McCaffrey as Officer Collins. We've got Kevin McAfee as a bailiff. We've got Justin Long as a doctor. We've got Patrick Fischler and Darlene Hunt as yuppie husband and yuppie wife. We've got some other big names that do small parts in this. We've got Andrew Wilson, who is Luke and Owen Wilson's brother. He plays Beef Supreme.
Okay.
Yeah. We've also got who else we got here? We've got Greg Pitts as a cameraman. He was in Office Space. We've got Stephen Root as a judge in here. Different people. So you've got some Mike Judge stalwarts. Yeah. Stephen Root is in almost everything except for Beavis and Butthead, and maybe not Extract. Yeah. But yeah, he's a staple of Mike Judge. Yeah, he's on King of the Hill, and he was definitely in Office Space. This is the best part of that movie. So, initial thoughts here on this movie. Have you seen it before?
I've seen it several times. Yes.
Okay. Yes.
It's kind of a dumb movie, but I do like it. It's short, so that's good because I don't think I could stand it if it was any longer. But I like it because of how stupid it is, and not a whole lot really happens in it. But the movie surprisingly has good pacing. This movie, I think, didn't do very well in the theaters, did it?
No, it was made for $2.4 million, and it only made $495,303 at the box office.
Yeah, so it's got a cult following, but
yeah, it did well. It did well on DVD release, and it has a huge cult following. I mean, to be fair, Office Space had a similar trajectory because Office Space, but except for Office Space was made for $10 million, so it was made for more money, and it made $12.2 million at the box office. But yeah, it's kind of funny. It's kind of funny to think that the budget of Office Space was more than the budget of this movie.
I know this movie's got so much stuff.
Yeah. So I had seen this years ago, and I almost had forgotten what happened in the film, but it's a cultural touchstone, though, for just the way society is, and we're basically living in an idiocracy or a cacatostrophe or cacistocracy, government least qualified sort of thing. Yeah,
that's literally what it is. I mean, it's a lot of it is so eerily similar, especially when it comes to product placements and. Being named after food products, and it's just I wouldn't I understood it was it's supposed to be a satire and stuff, and I understood, but just of how literally it's becoming true to me and concerning to me. I mean, you got a guy named Big Balls, for example, who's a computer program. I mean, he might as well could have been a character in this movie, It's just sad.
I mean, and he was the inciting point for Trump deciding to put military on the streets of the Capitol. It's
you notice too. There's hardly any media coverage about what's going on there. Almost nothing. For all we know, the White House could be on fire right now. We have no idea. Because they're intentionally leaving us in the dark, which is kind of against what a free press is do. But
and then you flood the I don't know what it's called, flooding something they call it, where you flood all these different bad things happening all at once, and people don't have time to focus on one.
Right, because it's impossible to do it. Yeah.
Mhm.
But what we should do is organize. I'm pretty sure some people are already doing this. We should do a thing where you organize where like get like a team of people, like maybe just like a few friends or even like a organization and be like, all right, this person's going to research what's going on this topic. That person's going to research. So that way as a team, we could all come together and kind of paint a picture of what's going on, instead of like, oh, here's this story on this subject and that story on that subject. And then just like going crazy. Like give like certain jobs to like each particular person. Like, okay, I want you to read like, let's say 5 articles a day on this particular thing that's going on in the news, like on this issue, like when it comes to like abortion or whatever it would be, and then that person does immigration.
Because just when you're like outraged by one thing, another thing pops up, and he's flooding the system, like I said, with things that it's basically all to make you forget like things that are really happening that hurt us. You're just like, you'll flood things and you'll make fun of Rosie O'Donnell or something, and then try to make people forget about the Epstein files. So anyways, it may lead to a complete idiocracy in the future if we don't have something that comes along after this. And the problem with is that you tear everything down with a bulldozer, and then it makes it's a lot easier to knock down a building than it is to build a building.
Yeah.
So once it's knocked down, it's going to take a while to build it back up. So yeah. Oh boy, I'm sad.
Yep, me too. Build back better. Build back better. Good slogan. It never actually made its way into reality, but
never made any sense either.
Because it was so
I mean, it did make more sense than Make America Great Again, because America was never great to begin with, and I don't know when again, because it doesn't it's the syntax wise it doesn't make any sense. But anywho, the people don't want to hear my political takes, or maybe they do. So what goes down here in Idiocracy?
Okay, so Luke Wilson's character, I forgot his name already. What was it?
Joe Bauers. And I read in the trivia that it applies to this. The last name Bauers, well, Bauer itself without the S, in German means farmer.
Oh, okay. It's a
so that's interesting. Yeah.
It is interesting. So Joe Farmer, or Bauers, got like this just kind of useless desk job in the military. He's like literally like in the basement, doesn't really actually do anything, he watches TV, and he gets sent up to do another job, like a secret thing, and then some other guy's going to take his place. So while he's like, oh yeah, he's like, don't I have to train him? He's like, oh yeah, I think he can learn how to watch TV by himself or something like that.
Yeah.
And then we get to the scene of like these like generals and stuff. They're all around like a table, and you got this guy who's like talking about how like he had to like infiltrate like a pimp gang to like get the other right candidate for the job, and he's just like bragging about all this like, bunch of pictures of him like partying and hanging out. They're like, okay, can we get to he's like, oh yeah, sorry. He's got like 80 different slides of him like hanging out with the crew and like, strippers like on his lap and shit like that.
Yeah.
And so we got two candidates.
He's hanging out with a pimp named Upgrade.
Spells differently or whatever.
2 Ds at the end. Yeah. And Upgrade is played by Brad Jordan, who is also known as Scarface from the Ghetto Boys.
Oh, okay.
The rap group. So yeah.
Well, yeah, and so that's the other candidate is Rita. That's one of his girls. And then you got Joe, and then they're supposed to do this cryogenic whatever experiment for 1 year. She's about to get out because she didn't know that they're gonna like hook her up to tubes and all that kind of stuff. So she didn't really want to do that, but he convinced her just to go ahead with it. Then he doesn't really know that she's a prostitute. He's like, oh, like you must like an artist or something. She's like, yeah, He's like, oh, what do you do? It's like, paintings and stuff. He's like, oh, okay, what kind of painting? He's like, I don't know, like fruit and shit or something like that. And so they go under, and then the thing's canceled because the guy got arrested for being involved with Upgrade, whatever his sex business, whatever. And they kind of bury it, literally, and they forget all about that the pods are still there, and then 500 years pass. There's a whole thing though in the beginning I forgot to mention that's like the prelude to this. So. And I didn't really like it. I mean, it was funny, but I thought it was almost eugenicist a little bit by accident, because the whole idea is that like stupid people breed more than smart people. Therefore, I'm like, but just because you're stupid and have kids, it doesn't automatically mean your kids are going to have low IQ. So like that kind of not a great movie plot line, but that's what we're working with here. You could almost say it was an idiot way of explaining the problem of Idiocracy. So it's like, like even the way it's describing it is kind of dumb, because you got this guy named like Cletus or something, and he's sleeping around his trailer park, having all kinds of kids. And then you got these smart couple who are like, it's too soon to have kids, and we don't have enough money, and like they're all like waiting, basically to say like, hey, this stupid guy is like completely populating the earth with his progeny, and then these two couples are waiting forever to have one kid, and then dude eventually dies from masturbating for a semen sample, and then she's got to find someone else with their frozen eggs. And
don't you hate it when that happens?
Yeah,
when you're masturbating for a semen sample and you die.
I mean, and what happens sometimes, like you gotta make sure you got a good heart, can't. What's I said, like make sure your doctor says you can have sex because your heart might go out. You just gotta be careful, but just think. Gotta be careful about that shit, And once you get older, you gotta be like, well, do I want to have sex or do I want to live? I don't know. We just have to roll the dice, but like, or you can do both. But and so that's kind of what we're working with here. I don't really like that idea too much, because it does kind of have like an almost eugenicist kind of like basically saying like only these people should breed and the other ones shouldn't.
It does and it doesn't, but it's a simplistic way of representing what he was trying to say with the film, in my opinion. Like how it's more of a way that we reward stupid people.
Yeah.
More and more. And I mean, it's even more so now than it was in 2005 when he made the movie. It's like you get this point where we're just like, your Love Islands and your Keeping Up with the Kardashians and shit like that are the like, biggest things on TV, and you're got shit like that. No offense to any of those people, but you know what I mean? It's like we're just dumbing down the intelligence of art to begin with, and then more so on other things as well.
Yeah, and it's I mean, I did that part well, and because like it progressively shows how things got dumbed down throughout the past 500 years. Like people started misspelling things, and then that became like the actual name of things and products and things like
which
that.
Is actually rooted in real linguistics though too, because there have been things that we say nowadays that like 500 years ago were spelled differently, but they got, I mean, even when Shakespeare was alive, his name was spelled like 3 different ways,
right,
by him.
And he had words too.
yeah
He invented words like literally that we use now.
Yeah.
Forgot which ones they were, but there are a few words that were just he made up, like, for the stories. And now, we just say them. And like, so there's like this company called Brondo, which literally bought the FDA, and which sounds like something that could happen now. Like, and just because
it's kind of like how they're trying to privatize everything, so it makes sense.
Yeah, so this like Gatorade kind of drink company named Brondo just bought the FDA and just said like to eat and consume its products, like because that's what's good for you. And then Carl's Jr. got involved at one point, so they're kind of like working together, I guess, or something like that.
So Shakespeare, sorry, I just had to look it up, created over 1,700 words.
Did we use some of them?
Yeah. He created words like addiction.
Oh, wow.
Eyeball, bedazzled, which is the name of a movie that we covered recently on this podcast.
The newer version of it. The
term fashionable, the term in a pickle, star-crossed lovers, swagger, good riddance.
Oh,
yeah. Wild goose chase, different things. So yeah, there's a lot of things we still use today that he coined. But it's interesting. So yeah, we've got this, eventually, Joe wakes up in the future out of his hibernation chamber, and it's 500 years later.
Yep.
And because a garbage avalanche disturbs Joy and Rita's hibernation chambers. Those must have been really well made hibernation chambers that they lasted 500 years without just killing.
That's what I was gonna say. I'm like, wow, man, this is kind of crazy.
Yeah. So Joe awakens. His pod like crashes into the wall of this guy named Frido Pendillo, which is a Spanish term that actually just means it basically means the pubic hair on your dick.
Yep.
It's basically
Frido.
It's basically Frido Pendillo, and it's basically like a Mexican word that people will call people instead of an asshole.
Yeah.
So this apartment he's in, and this is in like the area that used to be Washington D.C. So yeah. And you know, Frido's got this like he's sitting on TV watching like a TV show called Ow My Balls.
Yeah.
And he's asking for help, and he's being called homosexual. Basically, you know, not those words, but you know, so he's just I'm not going to use the slurs.
But yeah, I'm part of that.
Yeah. So he thinks he's like hallucinating and shit, but then he realizes what the year it is at the hospital. But you know, I did find it funny that Frido's lazy boy that he's sitting in has a toilet in it.
Oh, it does.
Yeah, he had a toilet in it, like because you hear it flush at one point, and then you see it, and it's got a toilet, like it basically just sitting on a toilet, eating and drinking and watching TV, which is not too far from reality. So
not really. And yeah, I like how the show Ow My Balls is literally just about a guy getting kicked in the balls. That's the entire show, which again, you know, Jackass came around that time. I wonder if that was kind of a dig at that a little.
Yeah, it probably was. And it is kind of funny that there's like so everybody in the future wears Crocs on their feet. And the reason that they were chosen for the movie was because the like costume designer didn't have a huge budget for things and just went and bought a bunch of them because they were like new at the time. And both her and Mike Judge said that these things will never catch on.
Oh, God.
And then shortly after, they caught on for the first time shortly after. And then eventually they caught on again, like, you know, 15 years later or whatever. So
a lot of people are wearing them. I don't like them personally. I don't like the way they look. But
I have a pair of these tread safe shoes that are kind of Croc-like that I wear to work. But they're not like in the same exact style. They're a little different, but same kind of material. I only wear them because they're actually comfortable at work. So they're non-slip. So what else happens here?
After the guy's flushing his toilet while quote baiting, which means masturbating, I guess, or something. And then the other thing too is that he's literally got like a straw connected to like his head for like whatever he's drinking, so he can't even like bother pick up the can or whatever he's drinking from. He's got to drink off. And so they freak out. He throws him out of his domicile, is what they call it. And then Joe eventually finds his way to a hospital. He thinks he's like a dairy hospital.
Yeah.
And everyone there, they're just like glazed eyes, like over, like even like the woman at the reception, like they just have buttons to push, like for whatever the ailment is, which almost sounds like something you would be getting now too, like, you know.
It's very similar to like if you ever looked at like a cash register. I mean, I know you have family members that work in fast food, but I know that like at McDonald's, I don't know if they still have it that way, but they probably do at McDonald's and Burger King and all those places. They have like pictures on the register of what people are ordering.
Yeah,
so
right.
Yeah, it just reminded me of that.
I don't mind that because that's, you know, for like
but to take that idea and then put it into a hospital is what I thought was
it's not great. And it's not great. And you know, like to get his temperature taken, they gotta make him put like one of the things in his butt, like instead of just doing it like a simple someone's temperature. Like this one goes into your mouth, that one goes into your butt. And like you don't really need to do that to take a temperature. And the doctor is like Justin Long. He's like just acting like some kind of hippie kind of dude, like, hey, bro, like, what's going on, you know? And then we find out that everyone in Idiocracy land has to have a barcode tattoo, and he doesn't have one. And for whatever reason, we didn't really get an explanation, but for whatever reason, if you're like, quote, an unscannable, that's like, apparently you're like an either violent person, like Justin Long starts freaking out about it. So I guess maybe there's something about being unscannable that just like scares the shit out of people. And
then the way they do say that the way people speak in the future is a mix of hillbilly, valley girl, inner city slang, and various grunts.
That's right. That was a good. It kind of does sound like that a little bit. And like, you always say he talks like a homosexual, which again, that's not the word he used. Just because he talks smartly and like actually can use his word, you know. But that's like what is bad. Apparently, is like actually being able to really and not just using catchphrases. And like that's the other thing too is like this movie like really like talks about like meme culture before like meme culture was even a thing. Like, you know what I mean? So like it's interesting of how it even got that correct, you know?
I mean, memes have existed for centuries, but still in the meme culture, like you said, like, you know, the more internet version of it.
Yeah, I know that memes have been around. I'm just being like modern version.
I know what you mean. I was just saying that before anybody commented on us because we get tons of comments. No, we don't. But
yeah. And so we get this thing where like Costco is like the main store and it's just surrounded by like all kinds of trash because they got to get to Costco to find a time machine.
Yeah, that's after he escapes from jail just by telling the person that he's supposed to be released. Because he got arrested at a Carl's Jr.
Oh, that's why we get into that. Okay, yeah. And then that's right, because Frito's his lawyer. I forgot about that. So Frito is actually a lawyer.
When he goes to jail, he's sent to trial, and then Frito is there to represent him. And
instead he went against him because he's mad that he broke into his apartment or whatever.
And then while this is all going on, Rita's on the streets, you know, being a prostitute again, and she just basically she's realizing how stupid these people are. So she has this one guy that she just keeps saying, you know, I got you. I'm going to put you on an hourly charge here, and you know, we'll have sex. You know, tomorrow, and then she keeps putting it off.
Like for 3 days, he's like, okay. He's like, oh man, you're really gonna, you know, like the waiting game's awesome or whatever, you know. He's just paying her all money.
Oh god. So then Joe is sent to like this jail, and then he's got to get his barcode, and then he ends up the thing's asking him his name, and he ends up saying not sure at some point, and then that ends up becoming his name.
Yeah, not sure. And they have this weird little machine where you stick your arm in, and then it just gives you arm tattoo or whatever, which that's kind of scary too, because like that's been a long thing when it comes to like conspiracy theorists talking about the barcodes that humans are going to have, but it has been becoming true that some companies, like there's like an incentive to get like, you know, some kind of like a chip, like a microchip in your body. It's not like a requirement yet to do it, but they do incentivize it. So we might get to the point where we might have to get fucking barcodes or something stupid along those lines just to make things faster, because like a credit card apparently is not fast enough. Now we just have a scanner where you just scan the credit card and then automatically does it for you, you know, or
you can pay. You can pay on your phone. Yeah, your phone, like Apple or Google Pay or whatever. Yeah, or you can even use the like Cash App or something like that from your phone to do stuff. But but he also has to take this aptitude test that seems to be about as great as the one that they give the president, that he always talks about how glowingly. That's what it reminded me of.
I aced it, man. It's like it's not something to brag about, dude. It's like
it's not like he talks about. He's like, and then of course every time the president says, you know, he always brings up these women of color in Congress and says that they should take it because they're stupid and they won't be able to ace it like me and everything. And it's just like he always has to call women of color stupid, and people still claim he's not a racist. But anyways,
he says it stupidly by saying they have a quote bad IQ instead of saying low IQ. So even when he's insulting them, he's using wrong words to insult them.
I mean, this is the same guy that says he's going to lower drug costs by 1,500% or something like that. And that's not how
it doesn't make any sense.
No, it's like on the Daily Show when Josh Johnson was hosting and that happened, and he's like so basically they're going to start paying you to take drugs, and
Yeah,
and then he says by next year the richest people in the world are going to be a bunch of guys with prostate cancer or something.
I mean, it's like that reminded me too about, I don't know why, but like how all the doctors just like focus more on like curing baldness and like erectile dysfunction.
Future in this movie, there's erectile dysfunction and baldness. Yeah,
I mean, I really hope they can do the baldness thing because like I miss having hair out everywhere. Like I think that would be awesome if they could figure that shit out. Knock on wood, I don't have the other issue yet, but as you get older, sometimes
I don't really care about the hair thing. I've been shaving my head for years, so and I actually could. The thing is I actually still have hair. I just choose to shave my head. People are like, "Oh, you're bald," and I'm like, "Yeah, by choice." So yeah,
because it's not easy to take care of. Yeah, and it's I don't know, man. It's just so like that's pretty much all the medical science they cared about or paid any attention to. And so now we get into the president who,
first we have a whole situation where they go to Costco.
Oh yes, I forgot about that.
Costco is like this huge, and I find it funny, like the greeter at the door. It's like, "Welcome to Costco. I love you."
That's what he says. I know, I love you to everyone. He's so bored. Like it's hard to explain, but like everybody in this movie, they're just like their eyes are all glazed over, like they're just completely stupid and checked out of life. And
I will tell you, being a door greeter is the most boring thing in the fucking world.
I would imagine. I mean, it's like it's a job.
I had to fill in at Walmart, and then I used to work at this store called Media Play years ago. And around the holidays, they would have me at the door handing out flyers, and then I'd be like, "Welcome to Media Play. Would you like a flyer? Welcome to Media Play. Would you like a flyer? Welcome to Media Play. I hate my life. Welcome to Media Play. I love you."
At least passing out flyers is more of a engagement than just standing there and just saying "I love you." Or whatever.
There is this door greeter at the local Walmart that I go to in my city. My dad and I always, whenever we go there together, he just looks at him. He's like, "Oh, it's our favorite door greeter." The guy stares straight ahead and never talks.
Oh,
it's like you might as well just literally have a mannequin there.
Yeah, why not? Actually, that's not bad. And then I've actually seen that in stores sometimes, like as a joke, maybe or something. Yeah. And
one time I went there, I walked by him and I was like, "Hi, how are you?" And he just looks at me and he just starts looking straight ahead and he doesn't say anything. I'm like,
he's probably like just like examining every life decision that's led to this moment in his life. Yeah. Or anything that's happened, anything that's happened to him, because it's not necessarily.
He has like dazed out, like look like he's on drugs or something. He might be. I don't know, but yeah.
Like ketamine or what other kind of prescription SSRIs that just like totally melting you out to the point of like just not caring or giving a shit about anything, which is not exactly a great thing. But anyway, no matter, like with my doctor and shit like before, because I was talking about OCD. I was having like a really, really bad time with my OCD a couple years ago. It was like, he's like, well, it's like, I don't know, like, because like a lot of the shit that medication that they do that kind of zonks you out. And if you were having issues with like the little dose of Prozac I gave you, like you're going to be completely zonked out. It's like, and I was like, it's like, all right, maybe I won't take anything for now. But like,
yep.
Yeah,
it's like it's like I when I was on the first depression medication I was on, I'm not going to say what it was. It turned me into a zombie. So yeah, because I don't like to mention my medications. So just because I don't want people to think that what I tried was bad, so they shouldn't try it because it could be good for somebody else. You know what I mean? Yeah. So then we go through this whole Costco thing and they lose Rita there. But Joe ends up getting arrested at the place and then he's taken to the White House and they say the smartest person alive because of that test he took at the jail.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I literally think in this future, Trump would be the smartest person alive.
Well, yeah, maybe. I'm not even sure if that's accurate.
No, I know. Well, between him and Joe, I think
Joe would be like an Einstein character compared to Trump. But like the thing is again like with his name was like Mountain Dew Camacho or something like that. Yeah. I forgot his name.
It's like Wayne Elizondo Mountain Dew Herbert Camacho.
Yes. And what's scary about him is that when they made this movie, it was like a satire. Like he's wearing like an American flag type of clothing. He's got like a machine gun. He shoots up in the air. He's like speaking like he's just like a wrestling match. And you know, but like now we have literal people, like, for example, the McMahon being like in charge of like education or some shit. Like, you know, like
Hogan speaking at the Republican National Convention, rest in hell. Anyway, so the
like the shit that was like meant to be a satire of in 2005 when it was made is actually now happening because Trump was really big in the wrestling scene as well back in the, you know.
He wants for the 250th anniversary of our country, he wants to have a UFC match at the White House.
Right. And so this is not even satire anymore because it's like the actual stuff, like how it's like, again, with like the problem with like conservatives like ruling the world is that when people say like, oh, well, this makes comedy your job so much easier. It's like, yeah, it does, but that's the problem. You don't actually have to come up with anything. Like, so it's like you don't want it to be easy. You want to be able to stay up on your game, but you can't stay up on your game when they're just giving you the material. Like, you don't need to do, like, you literally, like, for example, what you just said there, you don't even need to write the joke. Like, it's the joke is there. Like, I'm going to have a UFC match at the White House. Like, that's it. There's the joke.
Posted about how I didn't like that on Facebook, and somebody said, well, how else should, you know, how do you think we should celebrate the 4th of July?
It's like, what?
I don't know, fireworks? You know, like every other 4th of July, they've had fireworks and like Chicago performs and shit like that. You know, like, can't we just do that?
Fireworks, literally, that's what we've been doing since
forever.
The whole point of fireworks is supposed to symbolize the actual warfare going on. Bombs bursting in the air, etc. Like,
to be fair, I mean, I'm just going to say this. I mean, I'm sure the first time they had a rock band perform on the 4th of July at the White House, it was or the Capitol or whatever. People were like, "Oh no, they're poisoning the minds of people with you know, rock and roll or whatever." So yeah, but still,
yeah, I get it. But there's degrees too. It's like. Yeah. It's like when people say like, oh, the boy who cried wolf. I'm like, yeah, but the story of the boy who cried wolf is that the wolf actually eventually does come. Yeah. And so like we're at the point where the wolf has come. Like,
there's a big difference between a UFC match and the rock band Chicago performing. You know what I mean?
It's Chicago's like, soft yacht rock shit. Like, you know,
not even that. I mean, it could even. I mean, they could even have heavy metal or some like death metal playing there, and it would still be different because the thing is you have a band that has a set sort of time to be there, and everybody can like sit there and watch on the big screens and stuff. I guess you could do that with the UFC too, but it just seems like I'd rather have a small concert than watch somebody fight. You know, it's just my thing.
Because it's really violent. There's not a whole lot of rules. You know, it's not like you're watching like a karate match where there are rules. Like you can't kick someone in the face.
There's a chance somebody could get hurt really badly or die at a UFC thing. And the worst that could happen in a Chicago performance is somebody hits the wrong note on their trumpet. You know, it's like.
No, it's exactly. Again, like Chicago is a soft rock, jazzy kind. Well, I love them too, but they're is the yacht rock. They're not like even their first album, which was kind of a little bit more on the rock side, or Peter Cetera. Even that album is not really rock.
No. Yeah, but I mean, it's good. It's technically rock, but it's more of a rock, jazz, blues fusion. But the you know, and I mean. Like I said, I love Chicago, and I'm Facebook friends with the current lead singer of Chicago. So, yeah, Neil, if you happen to be listening, which I doubt, can I get tickets to one of your shows for me and my dad because he really wants to see Chicago again with you singing?
Please, me too, because I only saw Chicago once and I was like 3 or 4 years old and I don't remember any of it. So
I saw, I mean, this is totally off topic of our movie thing, but that's okay. That's what we do on this podcast, folks. I hope you enjoy it. Years ago, I won tickets to see Chicago at from a radio station in it was actually in Windsor, Canada, but it broadcast into the States and everything. I won tickets to go to a concert at this place called Pine Knob, which is in Michigan. And they said they'd be at the ticket window when we got up there. We drove up there, and it's not like, you know, it's a good hour or two drive up there. And we get up there and they have no idea what I'm talking about the tickets. No. So they had to give us some other tickets, but we actually were supposed to have seats. But no, they gave us tickets in this lawn area, which was okay. But I mean, it was still a great concert, but it was just like, I was so pissed.
I would be too, man. I mean, I remember another story like that where our friend Joe was going to see the Chemical Brothers with our other friends, Andrew and Dean, and I think another I don't remember. There was another person, maybe it was Gabe. I don't remember. And for whatever reason, they weren't going to let Joe into the concert because I guess he was like underage at the time, and like he was just going to like sit in the car. Like, and while the other people, I'm like, it's so sad, but eventually they let him in or something like that. I'm like, that would just be because they drove to Chicago. That's why they reminded me of it.
Yeah, okay, gotcha. Yeah, I'm Facebook friends with Neil Donnell is the lead singer, and he has one of the most amazing voices ever. He's because he succeeded. There was Peter Cetera and then Jason Scheff and Jeff Coffey, and now he's the new lead singer. And he sounds kind of like Satire, but he's got his own thing, and he's just amazing. So, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Great. If you guys haven't, because I'm not sure, some of our audience are younger. We kind of have like a mix of age range. Yeah. But if the younger people, just go on YouTube or whatever, Spotify, maybe not Spotify because the quality of their audio sucks, but like YouTube or something like that. Like, look up
Chicago, like live.
Look up Chicago
too and stuff.
Live.
Yeah.
They're great. I also look up their first album, which is weird because they're one of those bands that kind of started off a little too high and it was hard to follow the act because their first album was literally a double album. Most bands don't start out with a double album,
and they weren't even Chicago at the time. They were the Chicago Transit Authority. So,
right. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
So anyway. Thanks for listening to our Chicago podcast. Next, we'll talk about the city, and then we'll talk about the musical, Chicago.
Yeah, there we go. So we totally forgot about Idiocracy here. We're now talking about good shit.
That does remind me of this one time where my dad kept telling me, yeah, we'll go to Chicago sometime to the city. Like we were planning to have a vacation there. But instead of actually going to the city one year, he and I went and saw the band Chicago and the musical Chicago in the same year, but we never went to the city. So
Chicago is a city. It's one of those cities that's like, it's really unique because it's like a big city, kind of like New York or LA, but it's smaller, but it also has like that Midwest feel because it's still technically and so like there's really not a city like Chicago. It's like its own thing, and I've been there 2 times to visit friends, and I've always liked it. I've never not liked beer. It's a great city.
It's a good time. I got lost on the L train one time, but it's a good time. Anyway, so the
make sure you know your way because
went to the opposite side of the city that we were supposed to be on. But anyways, so we've got this. So they find out that there's supposed to be this time machine located with So they're trying to get there, but he gets arrested and he goes to the White House. And because he's the smartest person alive, he's made the Secretary of Interior, and nobody knows what the Secretary of Interior does. I don't even know if I know what the Secretary of Interior does. According to Wikipedia, the Secretary of Interior is the head of the United States Department of Interior. The Secretary of the Department of Interior are responsible for the management and conservation of most federal land, along with natural resources, leading such agencies as the Bureau of Land Management, the United States Geological Survey, the Bureau of Indian Affairs, the National Park Service, etc. So yeah,
that makes sense then for what they want him to do, basically.
And our current Secretary of Interior is Doug Burgum.
Okay, we get these other people like in the cabinet, which again resemble our cabinet of just idiots or not qualified.
Yeah. You've literally got the guy that's in the Department of Education, this guy that's like sitting there, like pointing a gun at his eye.
He's just, God. Speaking of Chicago, it reminded me the original lead singer of Chicago, I think, accidentally killed himself by shooting himself, I think. Or one of the band members did of Chicago. Like way back in the early 70s, I think. It just reminded me of that because we were talking about the band. Anyway, didn't mean to get all morbid, but it just reminded me of that because we were just talking about them. But there's this line I love.
Yeah, but what you call it? Remember, I was trying to see if there's anything about about the guy killing himself or anything. So yeah, I don't know. So
there's 2 different band, but
here. But yeah, anywho,
So
what goes on?
What's that? Oh yeah. So there's this one guy. He keeps saying like "Brought to you by Carl's Jr." And then Joe's like, "Why do you keep saying that?" It's like
Can I get paid every time I do? It's like, I thought you were the smart one or something like that.
And so you know what? That reminds me. So our deputy director of the FBI, Dan Bongino, couldn't get sworn in right away because he still had contractual obligations to sell things on his podcast.
That's great. That's awesome.
So it kind of reminds me of that. At least he's not. He's not on TV while he's in the office being like, "Hey, buy this conservative coffee that I sell, or these dick pills that I sell, or whatever," you know. So it's just like,
it amazes me that Trump is allowed to sell shit while being president. I'm pretty sure that's illegal. But apparently not. Like,
you're supposed to technically divest yourself of all your things, but he technically, I guess, has, but his family still runs it, and it's just like.
They still run it, and then he gets money from it. But yeah, it's so like all these.
He's doubled his income since being in office, only 6 or 7 months.
You know, that's awesome and fair. It gives me hope, and I'm not full of dread every single time I wake up, and I'm not constantly dependent. Feel like, you know, I've got all this talent that I've built. Well, talent and skill that I've built up throughout my entire life of music and writing and trying to get ahead in something I'm good at, and constantly find a brick wall, never getting across. And then I see people with no qualities of whatsoever in life, no usefulness at all, making billions, millions of dollars just to be stupid or say something dumb on TikTok or YouTube that became like a viral hit. Like that Hawk Tua girl talking about how she gives great blowjobs, therefore she gets to be rich, you know, because she said that. Like, she didn't actually even give the blowjob. She just talked about it and then made money from talking. Like, she bypassed having to do porn.
That's your problem, Sesame. You were never randomly chosen by somebody to be interviewed and talk about how good of blowjobs you give.
I mean, I don't give blowjobs, but like, you know...
you were never randomly chosen to talk about it. Maybe if you would have just said, "No, I don't do that," maybe that would have been the new thing.
That would have been the viral, but I'm pretty sure she was selected on purpose. I'm pretty sure it was not even a real viral moment that they were probably all orchestrated, but whatever. But it's like, yeah, like, you know, we live in a literal idiocracy where you get like, and I'm not doing this like these kids today are on TikTok and like, no, but like there is a sense of like stupidity is rewarded, and like actually being talented and acquiring skill is not rewarded. If anything, it's not just not rewarded. It's like you're actually actively punished for it. It's like, you know, like, because I
am trying to figure out the TikTok thing, and I'm thinking of starting to post TikToks to our page with just my random opinions about pop culture and other shit. So we'll see how that works out. I'm working on a setup for it, though. I know a lot of people just like to like hold their phone wherever they are and do shit, but I can't just do that. So,
but yeah, I mean, like, there's nothing wrong with that shit, but it's just like, it is demoralizing when you'll see people who have like, they do not deserve at all like the wealth they've acquired or anything, because like they literally did nothing to earn it. Like, it's not even like they learned how to market themselves or they learned the algorithm. Like, some of these people literally just tripped into it, you know, and they just like, there you go. Like, you're a millionaire. And like someone like me, who's been like recording music since I was like 14 years old, and now we're going on 30 years of this shit. Nothing. I get like 15 views on like my YouTube videos where I spent like hours making the music and then making a music video or editing the music video. Nothing. Nobody watched except for like you and my family members, which I'm grateful for, but like no one outside of my purview, my own family and friend circle. Then you get like some 16-year-old going, you know, or whatever, and then there you go. Here's a $500 million contract for, you know, some soda brand or whatever. It just so again, it's just like we're living in that age. And the thing that the problem with that though is just like in the movie is when that is the incentive, and the de-incentive is actually being creative and actually working on something, then eventually you're going to see less people doing that, because they're like, well, why would I put all this work and effort into something if I'm not? I mean, it's like, yeah, you like the whole thing, like, oh, well, success is whatever you think it is. Yeah, it's usually people who are not successful who say that, but whatever, no matter. But it's like, yes, at a certain point, though, you do want other people to recognize the value you put out. It's not just for yourself. I mean, anyone who says that is they're lying either to themselves or others or both, because that's just the of the matter. Like 99.99% of people
like I say every time we start the podcast, this is just for you and me, Sesame.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. But we get like hundreds of listeners because we've been doing this for 7 years. So we at least have. I know. Yeah. But we at least have. Go ahead. Sorry, I'm going on too much rant. Too many rants.
Back to the movie.
Yeah.
We've got the so we got the whole like brought to you by Carl's Jr. guy, and we've got these other people, and so because he's the smartest person alive, President Camacho states that Joe will resolve the unfruitful crop yields and the dust storms, and this is at the House of Representatives meeting,
and not representatives, representatives.
The House of Representatives, and and there's like Pepsi logos behind him and shit at the State House or whatever. So yeah, so he says that that Joe's going to resolve the unfruitful crop yields, dust storms, the stagnant economy, among other issues, within a week or face imprisonment.
A week, yeah, I love that. It's like.
Yeah, so basically they're trying to figure it out, and then Joe and Rita visit a crop field, and they're trying to figure out what's going on. Basically, they figure out that the crops are being watered by Brondo, the sports drink, whose parent company owns the Food and Drug Administration, the Department of Health and Human Services, and the Federal Communications Commission.
So basically, it's like Amazon; it just owns everything.
So basically, what's wrong with it is you've got these concentration of electrolytes, which is basically salt. And the Brondo has destroyed the natural topsoil. So, yeah, because basically water people only think is something in the toilet. I honestly, literally, I'm trying to figure out how these people lived on only drinking Brondo. I don't understand.
We don't really need to know too much because you think too hard about it. Because, obviously your diets are horrible. You'd think that they would have dental issues from just never drinking water, only drinking Brondo, Gatorade shit, or French fries. Because that's the other thing too. There was a French fry machine that this woman
Carl's Jr.
from Carl's Jr. Like a box, almost like one of those rent-a-movie boxes. I forgot what they're called. One of those things.
Like a red box. Yeah.
But eyes. And then she paid for it, but then it didn't give her. So she pounded on the thing. And then it sprayed something in her face, like some kind of calming drug. And then told her to come back.
And she also, it wouldn't give her food. And she kept saying, I need the food for my kids. I need the food to feed my kids. And then she was going to get arrested for being an unfit parent.
That's the other thing too. It's please gave her this calming drug sprayed in her face, and then she just staggered around.
That little scene is very metaphoric of a lot of things. You've got the idea that you're trying to get food, you're not able to get the food using your own money. Then the government or Carl's Jr. decides to spray you to try to placate you with something else to distract you, and then while it's happening, because you can't afford to feed your kids because of how fucked up things are, they're going to take your kids away from you.
Yep. I mean, that sounds very, that's not at all what happens in our country or anything like that.
Yeah.
Never. That's never, ever happened. No one's ever been punished for being poor in this country. That's just something that doesn't happen. It's not it's a fantasy, or it's more, maybe not a fantasy. It's like a dark fantasy. You only read it in books about goblins and wizards and witches and shit. It's not something that really happens. For example, if you're poor and you can't afford shit, you don't get punished by having more debt added onto you, which you can't afford to pay off that debt, which then that makes you even poorer. That never happens in our country.
No, it doesn't cost money to be poor.
Oh, of course not.
I
mean,
actually it does, folks. We're lying.
If you buy really cheap shoes that don't really protect your feet, then you're not going to have feet problems that are going to cost lots of money for the podiatrist, or leg problems or knee problems. That's not going to happen.
No.
If you can't go to the dentist, for example, so you forego going to the dentist, instead of every 6 months, maybe you go once every 2 years, if that. And then you got have to do a bunch of dental work, which is going to cost you thousands upon thousands of dollars. Whereas before, if you went to the dentist every 6 months, you might pay a couple $100 here and there. So that never happens either. Are you kidding me?
And it never happens where the dental shit has to come out of your pocket, even though you're on Medicaid.
Oh no.
And because the Medicaid that you're on, the only dentist you can see is like an hour and a half away. And yeah, that didn't happen to me at all. Anyway, so
they won't see you for like another 8 or 9 months when you actually need the help now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that never happens. Yeah. You know, you make the appointment, and then when the appointment's coming up within like 2 or 3 days, then they didn't cancel on you right then, and then you have to wait another 6 months. Never happens ever.
Never happens. And you know, I didn't have to take the money out of my 401k to pay for my teeth. But anyway, so I digress. The people in this movie, their lives suck too.
Yep.
So basically what ends up happening is they switch over the Brando to water, and they basically Brando, all the people at Brando go bankrupt basically, and all these people lose their jobs because of it and shit. So now everybody's mad at Joe because he's trying to fix things. And see, that's why you don't just jump in and try to fix things right off the bat. Like say, you know, maybe trying to bring back manufacturing jobs to the United States by just raising tariffs on other countries. Anyway, so it is
interesting
without any kind of infrastructure ahead of time to take care of the people in your country while you're spending all your money to educate people in Israel and stuff. But anyways, so the
giving them free healthcare and, you know, that kind of shit.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah. So God, I hate our world.
You know?
And this movie just makes me remember why.
Exactly.
It's not a good escapist film.
It's not. No, it's the opposite of us. Because you're just sitting there staring at it, be like, "Oh my fucking God, this is literally happening." But not really, because at least Camacho is actually somewhat a likable character in some regards, like where it's Donald Trump. It's like,
no. Oh boy.
I mean, yes, gonna kill Joe if he doesn't do the job, but like at least he lets beer for himself. Trump would offer a beer to someone else, you know.
No, and you know, Cenk Younger would, or Uyghur, I mean, would, but you know, it just
yeah, exactly. Only if you're right wing though, but don't not with a left winger. Only if it's a fascist will Cenk Uyghur have a beer with them, and they could like agree on like one thing, and they'd be like, "Oh, we both hate the big bankers, and I mean, you hate them because you think they're all Jews, and I hate them because of this. But like, since we both agree on something, but we have completely different reasons for why we agree, we're just going to ignore the reasons why we agree on something, because that's what you do when you're smart.
We're going to get together and we're going to agree on the fact that we both like beer and have a beer." No, wait.
I hate beer. I think beer tastes like.
No, but I'm just saying I don't drink at all. So, but I'm just saying that's basically what it boils down to, is like the only thing they agree on is the fact that they can get together and have a beer. So basically half the Brando, because of how big it is, actually employs like half the population, kind of, you know, similar to like Amazon and Walmart and places like that, you know, employ half the country. And fuck Walmart. So
absolutely, I hate big. I wish we had like smaller stores, because I hate superstores. I'm like an agoraphobe in some sense. I don't like. Well, I like open spaces if I'm like in a field or something like that. But like if I'm in like a huge ass store, I get anxious. Like Aldi is fine because Aldi is like small. That's okay for me. But like I
had anxiety today at the laundromat. So yeah. Mainly because it was crowded, and then you have this woman with her 2 kids that doesn't know how to control the kids, and by kids I mean teenagers, who just keep walking like right into me as I'm trying to fill up the washer. Okay. So yeah.
I don't like crowds. Yeah.
Phone, sorry folks. So anyways, back to the movie here. We've got this. Basically, everybody's pissed off, and nothing seems to be growing yet because he's been, you know, watering stuff with water now instead of Brando. And so they don't, you know, immediately, you know, the crops don't immediately materialize or whatever. So he has to go to this court to be rehabilitated.
Yeah.
And it's like this extreme court that basically has like monster trucks. It's like a monster truck demolition derby that, you know, the person that's rehabilitated is usually just ran over by the trucks and killed and stuff. while at the White House, Rita and Frito discover that Joe's reintroduction of the water to the soil has allowed some crops to grow. And so they're trying to get this to the president, but he's not listening. The cameraman from the broadcast, they end up going to where the crops are. They get sidetracked while they're going there, though, to show the crops growing by going into a Starbucks, which is actually just a brothel, basically. In the future.
Yeah, because all throughout the movie, he's like, I could go for a Starbucks. He's like, yeah, we all want a hand job, but we don't have time right now.
Yeah. Oh boy!
Oh god!
So, I mean, that's kind of funny. I mean, things like that could happen. Like something starts out as one thing and eventually becomes something else completely.
Yeah, totally. I mean, McDonald's happened like that. I mean, over time. I mean,
I don't know what McDonald's you're going to, because when I go to McDonald's, I just get like a chocolate shake. I don't get a hand job.
I mean, like the original McDonald's to have now. I meant like that was just like
back when they started, they were a brothel. I get it.
Yeah. Not the
back when Dick and Mac McDonald's were just given blowjobs and hand jobs. That's what they call the speedy service. They did them really fast.
Because they got so many customers, they gotta do it fast. Speaking of which, McDonald's, I don't know what's going on. I'm not sure if they're like promoting some new movie, but they're having strawberry pies coming out soon. Like, I gotta get one of those. Like, I mean, I love the cherry ones, which they took those away. They only have apple one, but I gotta try one of these strawberry pies when they come out, because I don't think I've ever had one before from McDonald's. I mean, God, their pies are so fucking good. Super hot, dangerous. You gotta make sure you let them cool down. But anyway, I'm getting hungry. I just had Burger King, but now I'm getting hungry. I did not eat Carl's Jr. I had Burger King.
No. And today I did eat fast food today, and it was Lee's famous chicken. So yes, which is 10 times better than the
absolutely
Kentucky Fried Chicken. Yes.
A Whopper. I put a bunch of hot stuff on it. It was so good.
If Lee's or Burger King or any other fast food people, including Carl's Jr., would like to sponsor our podcast, the email is mike@cullenpark.com. Yes. So just contact me. I won't mention that fried food upsets my stomach. But anyway, so
oh god.
So he's in this thing, and they're trying to kill him basically with these monster trucks, and there's a big guy that's coming back to try to take care of it, and they're too stupid. They didn't realize that the big monster truck they built for him wouldn't fit through the entrance. He ends up
like the Dildozer and the ass blaster or something like that.
Yeah.
It's like.
And then they give and the little car that they give Joe is like this little one with like a dildo on the front of it or something. And so
blasted by to make it humiliating for him. And then they put the giant rock on top of his trunk. I forgot about that. They chained him to the rock.
To figure out how to take the rock off of him.
Right.
So, anyways, what ends up happening is they end up broadcasting the crops on the Jumbotron at the place, and then Camacho stops it. Because there's this big guy, Beef Supreme, who was going to kill him with with like these flamethrowers, played by Luke Wilson's brother. Which is funny. So anyways, he gets a presidential pardon, and after that, they talk about he's going to go back to the future, so he wants to go. Back to the past, so he wants to go to the time machine. And but Camacho wants to make him vice president, so he ends up deciding to stay because Rita wants to stay. And they find out though that the time machine is just an amusement park ride.
Frito just lied about it because I like money. And then he's like, "Why would you know?" Yeah,
fucked up history too, where it's like when Charlie Chaplin was in charge of Germany and took over killed all the Jews.
And the dinosaurs, the Hitler Nazi dinosaurs who were fighting against the American ones or something like that.
And then my favorite part is that this organization that ended it was called UN, and then they show the UN building.
And it turns out he was lying, but he's like, well, wait a minute though. if you knew it was fake, then why would you think the money? Because I wouldn't be able to open up a savings account for you, and he just like looks all confused. He just like.
Then we have like a little after thing where they basically say that eventually Joe becomes president and he marries Rita, who becomes the first lady. Frito becomes the vice president. Yeah, Rita and Joe have the 3 smartest children in the world, where Frito has like 32 of the dumbest kids to ever walk the earth.
Right, so now we're gonna have the same shit going on, all over again.
Yeah, and he didn't like save things, but he did, basically set into motion a chain of events that would eventually, undo the dumbing down of society.
So that's the only part that gives me hope in this movie, that like we're probably never going to actually see the fruits of what we're doing, but we're at least setting into motion for when fascism won't be ruling the world. So like
maybe my nieces and nephews won't have to live into a fascist society.
Yeah. Or even then, maybe the third generation might, be the one that finally is able to kick it, and just get rid of them or something,
I mean, my oldest niece is having another girl, so maybe her daughter will be the one to save the world.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, it's something that I've been thinking about a lot lately, actually, is like the idea that like, unfortunately, we're probably not going to be able to see it. Like Moses in the Promised Land, it's like he led them, but he wasn't allowed to go. It sucks, but at the same time, it's like, at least... it's a bad story because eventually they commit genocide against the Canaanites. Well, no matter. But like, and then they're doing it again with Israel. But but no matter. Bad example.
But when I think about you, Sesame, I often think you're the modern day Moses. And
I am. I mean, no, not really. If anyway, I'm the modern day Aaron, because I don't stutter and I'm pretty loquacious, if I do say so myself. And Moses needed Aaron to be his interpreter.
But there was that one day when we went to that swimming pool and you parted the water. It was kind of interesting. But I
think it's because we were both on mushrooms and we saw it, but it didn't actually happen.
Yeah, I mean, it didn't really happen, but we weren't even together. We even had a swimming pool.
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about. I think we had a shared dream, and but you got to see though. I have been thinking a lot about that lately. Of just like there maybe like 2 or 3 generations ahead of us are finally gonna be free, and it's like it kind of makes me a little bit happy to just think about that. At least I won't be able to see it, but at least they will, type of thing. Which again, that's something you think about when you're not a selfish person and not like a conservative asshole who just thinks only about themselves, stuff like that. So
empathy and stuff like that. And and in the future, people will learn from the Holy All2 Real 2 podcast books that'll be published and taught in every school in the world.
I mean, and why not? I mean, why not? We should write like
I was going to say, in the future, people will learn that Daniel Whitney is really Larry the Cable Guy, and it's stuff like that. And
he's a great actor.
We'll solve all of humanity's problems. They'll learn why Kirk Cameron saved Christmas and different things like that.
Yeah. Yep.
So, anyways, at the end, we do have an after credit scene. I don't know if you stayed for that when you watched it. Where
I've seen it before. So
Upgrade ends up getting out of somehow he was in another pod of some sort, and he wakes up in the future and says he's going to look for Rita. It was like it was like one of those after credit scenes. It was basically like when like when the MCU introduced Thanos. It was like something we've all been waiting for.
And we were all waiting for Upgrade. But I think Upgrade has descendants too, because they said like there was a lot of people named Upgrade with the same exact spelling. So maybe kids, so they all kind of, maybe he was like Upgrade the second, the third, or whatever. Like, yeah.
And yet they were actually all that. But ironically, they are all a downgrade of what he was. So,
right. Yeah. Because Upgrade seemed like he was pretty good at what, I mean, he was bad, but he seemed like he was pretty much on,
Oh yeah,
on his girls. No, but
any other thoughts here on this movie before we wrap things up?
No, because we pretty much almost the exact amount of the time of the movie is the podcast talking about it.
Might cut this down a little bit, but we'll see. So, anyways, folks, if you want to save the future, go to all2real2.com and subscribe to all of our social media. Check out our TeePublic and buy something. Go to our Patreon and donate to the show and support us. Walk around town and just walk right up to people and just be like, yo, listen to All2 Real 2. It's good.
Do it. It's good.
Yes. And it's don't be a scrote. And don't be a scrote, as they say in the future. And
right.
Yeah. And then just help support the show. Leave a comment. Give us a 5-star review wherever you can. Share the episodes, do it up. Donate to some of the charities we have listed in our show notes that might help the future in ways that the other stuff won't. And
Yep.
Yes. Remember that trans lives are human lives. No human is illegal.
Yep.
Fuck the oligarchy. Free Palestine. Remember to be different, be yourself. Remember that I love you. Don't be a scrote. Sesame loves you. And until next time.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to All2 Real 2 podcast, a Cullen Park production. Produced and edited by Michael E. Cullen II. Music by Matthew Hawes. Subscribe and share the show. Visit us at cullenpark.com.
Want to live better? We've got a lot of work to do. Join Chris Hemsworth in National Geographic's new Disney Plus original series, Limitless. Live Better Now.
I'm diving headfirst into cutting-edge science to uncover 3 powerful secrets to living better right now. The growth that occurs through any challenging experience is really what we seek.
Chris Hemsworth stars in Limitless. Live Better Now. Now streaming on Disney Plus and Hulu.
It's showtime.
This episode is brought to you by FX's Alien Earth, the official podcast. Each week, host Adam Rogers is joined by guests, including the show's creator, cast, and crew, in this exclusive companion podcast. They will explore story elements, deep dive into character motivations, and offer an episode-by-episode behind-the-scenes breakdown of each terrifying chapter in this new series. Search FX's Alien Earth wherever you listen to podcasts.